Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here,
and welcome to the channel.
Hey, we have a special guest here with me today because she has some insights on this video. And this video is, why do you need a spray-in bed liner in your Tacoma back here? You guys can see we have a lovely spray-in bed liner in there, and I'm going to tell you why you need one in there. And Krista's going to help me out a little bit as soon as I can get this camera to stand up. There we go. All right, so first reason is obvious. The first reason is for bed or metal protection, right?
Right.
Because if you throw crap in the back of your truck, you don't want it slip sliding around and scratching up your bed. You want to protect that thing, right?
Yep. Prevent
Makes
rust.
sense?
Yep.
It helps prevent rust, it helps prevent scratches, and it helps prevent, believe it or not, small dents.
Yeah.
Because it does have a little bit of rigidity, that's rigidity to it, that if you drop something in there or throw something in there, I did a hammer drop test in the Tacoma up there. Now it is a composite bed, but it didn't dent either. Next thing is, can you guess?
No.
Slip resistance.
Ah.
Now, you might ask, what is slip resistance? Well, exactly like it sounds, right? I mean, if you have that painted bed in there, you know, paint when it gets wet is slippery.
Yep.
And it's also slippery even when it's dry.
Yep.
Now, if you crawl up in your bed, and I have on occasion because you need to walk around or grab something that is slid to the front because your bed is slippery, you don't want to slip and fall out of your bed or fall down in your bed or fall anywhere. So if you put this stuff down, it is abrasive. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It is abrasive. So if you've got tennis shoes on or anything that has a rubber sole,
It'll give you a grip.
it'll give you a grip. You can get a grip. Slip
Get a grip.
resistance. It's important. Next up is aesthetics. Let's take a look at this. Look at how gorgeous that bed looks that way. Huh? What a nice finish. Nice little speckly looking kind of material there. It looks awesome. Aesthetics are important. If you watch my channel, then you know I care about aesthetics. Not necessarily in what I wear, as you guys can see, as many people like to point out.
Right.
But I care about the aesthetics of the vehicle, right? It needs to look good.
It does, I agree.
And when you put this stuff in the bed, it just dresses everything up a little bit, in my opinion. Even more so if you use it as it's intended, and it's full of scratches and dents and rust. You're not going to have that with this spray-in bed liner.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Next up, value at trade-in.
Yeah.
What are people going to pay more money for? If you drive in to trade your truck off, and if you're like me and you do it every, I don't know, 2 weeks, 2 years, whatever, it's going to be worth less if you take it in and the bed's all scratched up and dented and rusted and all that stuff,
Yeah.
because you didn't have a bed liner in there. A bed liner helps hide all that stuff. And let me tell you why I mentioned that. Because you can put a bed liner in, a spray-in bed liner, even after the fact. Did you know that?
You can even line it.
Yeah. And you can do it after the fact. So if you have one of those beds right now that's all crappy with scratches and rust and all that, make sure you clean the rust up. But you can go ahead and have it Line-X now, or whatever the product is you want to use.
Yep.
Next up, peace of mind. You know, when I get a new truck, I don't want to be worrying about throwing crap in it and scratching up the bed, right? I mean, you think about, if you're like me, you think about that stuff. And I know a lot of you guys out there are going to say, it's a truck, it's how it's supposed to be used, right?
Yeah.
Well, I got news for you. Wrong. When you pay 50 grand or 40 grand or whatever for a truck, the last thing you want to do is take it out somewhere and scratch the heck out of it because you're throwing all kinds of crap in there.
Yep.
There's nothing worse than that.
You'll lose your value.
Right. And there's nothing worse than when you get that first scratch in your bed, you know, or that first little dimple or ding. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. Do you want that?
God, no.
We don't want that.
No way.
Now, one other thing I'm going to mention to you guys is comparing the spray-in bed liner. I'm getting wet. It's raining out here. Nice and dry, are you?
I am. Thank you.
One other thing I'm going to mention, because a lot of people will say, well, why didn't you just get the drop-in liner? Drop-in liners suck.
Yeah, what are those, like plastic?
They are plastic.
No, God.
Or vinyl,
no.
or some plasticky material. I have had those before. Now, why do they suck? Why do they suck?
They move.
They move. You're driving down the road, and I don't know about you guys, but I like a quiet truck unless I want it to be loud.
Right.
Unless I make it loud.
Right.
I don't want to be driving down the road and hear this, all this noise and slapping, because that's what they do. They go up and down, they slap on the sides, they make all kinds of noise.
Wow.
I don't want that.
Not for me.
Fitment. They never fit right. They always bow up on the edges. You know, in some previous trucks I've had, I think I had a drop-in liner in a Ram Rebel. And when I would go and get loads of dirt, it would push that liner down in the middle and actually pull the edges away from the side of the truck.
Yep.
Now, the problem with that is dirt gets down.
Yeah, underneath.
Underneath. So now
and
what
in
you...
dirt, you also have some gravel.
Right.
So now your liner's going to move, and oh boy.
And what happens when it moves? When there's gravel between it and the paint?
You've got to turn your stereo up to full blast.
No, it's like sandpaper in there.
Yep.
It's like sandpaper rubbing against your paint. And how long do you think it takes with that drop-in bed liner doing this all the time with gritty sand and dirt between it and your paint before it rubs the paint off?
Spraying is the way to go.
They trap moisture down there too. If they've pulled away from the edge and moisture gets down in there and you have exposed metal, what happens?
Rust.
Rust. It's going to rust. Yep. So now, and I've seen this happen too, you might have this pretty shiny looking, if you can keep it that way, drop-in bed liner in there, but underneath are holes in your bed after time because they rust. They rust. It's not good.
It's not good.
Now, I've also seen drop-in bed liners tear. You know, because of people putting sharp objects in or things that are abrasive and they catch on that liner, they will tear. And again, once that happens, you've created a void in that bed liner and stuff is going to get underneath. That's going to cause problems. Now, if you don't keep your truck very long, then who cares, right? Who cares? But if you're looking for longevity and you want it to look good and you don't want rust and scratches and crap, even if you have the bed liner, the drop-in bed liner, then you should definitely go spray in. And one other thing I'm going to say, let's say that it's in there perfectly and nothing gets below it, right? Well, I got news for you. Those drop-in bed liners move. And even the friction between the bed liner itself, the plastic, and the paint is going to rub your paint off.
Yep.
I've seen many times where people have pulled those bed liners out because they've wised up and they're going to go with a spray in, and they're shocked to discover that the paint underneath is all rubbed away and worn because that drop-in bed liner is rubbing their paint. Yep. You don't want anything rubbing your paint. So that's why I would say go with the spray-in bed liner. Now, spray-in bed liner is going to cost you about, depending on where you're at, I would guess somewhere between $350 and $450, maybe $500, something like that. But that is well worth it. Way more worth it than having rust problems in your truck or the amount of money that you're going to lose when you take that truck in to trade it in. And I would even argue, as I mentioned before, peace of mind. You don't have to worry about throwing junk in your trunk, or your bed in this case, because you've got that spray-in bed liner.
Yep.
And it's protected. You don't have to worry about it. Anyway, I just want to get on here, bring my assistant out here for her insight. Wife.
Thank you.
For her insight into why it's important to have a spray-in and not a drop-in bed liner in your truck. Now, I will say one closing point. If you can't afford or you don't want to spend the money on a spray-in bed liner, then by all means, a drop-in bed liner is a good alternative, better than having nothing. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you see any importance? Do you care whether it's a drop-in or a spray-in? Let me know. I'd be curious to hear what you think. Appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And we'll see you next time
on the web. Have a great day. Bye. Well, good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing?
And welcome to the channel.
Pretty good here. Shoot.